Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I just got done with the Inspiration Activation reading, tarot reading for this month, and it will be the last one for 2018. So if you didn't catch that, check it out. It is on the Facebook wall, and it will be up on Rebecca Magic YouTube channel shortly. So this video is about Judgment Day. And I'm going to start with those words, judgment and day. Who's judging if there's only one? Only God can judge, but we are one with Creator. So it's more of a self-judgment. Who is the judge and who's being judged? This is the first thing to really look at. The other thing, day, Judgment Day. Is there really a time and a place reserved for this Judgment Day? Or is the concept of time something that maybe we haven't been looking at deeply enough? But many of you who are watching this are mystics and healers. And it is 2018, and we've come a long way in understanding who we are and why we're here. Time is an illusion. There is a cycle of life, but time itself is an illusion. So Judgment Day is technically always happening. Because we're living in eternity. And each moment holds that space for eternity. All moments exist simultaneously as one in this present moment. Therefore, this concept of Judgment Day is always upon us and within us. It's more a lesson to be looked at than it is some time and place to be waiting for, some event to be waiting for, or to be, what's worse, in fear of. So it's not something to anticipate so much as it is a concept to explore right here, right now. So what is this Judgment Day? If there's no other but the self, we are the judgers and we're the judged. Well, this is how I understand it. If there's something that we're judging as negative, a habit, a belief, a thought or an action, if there's something that we are judging as negative, that's the key right there. That's what we really need to look at. If we are seeing or judging something as negative, and we hold that belief inside of our subconscious mind, but then we still do it. We still do that thing that we know deep down to be negative, or at least not in alignment with our highest good. Because hopefully, if you have any definition of what negativity is, it's just simply anything that's not in alignment with your and our highest good. So if you have solidified a belief, whether consciously or not does not matter, if you have solidified a belief and it is deep inside of you that this thing is wrong or negative, then you continue to do it. You're living in that space of the Judgment Day. Until we correct certain habits that we believe are negative, we're always going to be judging ourselves. And often, most of the time, this does not happen consciously. It doesn't matter how presently aware of it we are or we aren't. If we have the belief inside that something is negative, and outwardly we are still doing it, there are two parts of ourselves that are in conflict. We're in conflict with ourself. So as long as we're still doing these negative habits, we're living in that space of Judgment Day. Because only we can judge ourselves. We don't want to have conflicting contracts, conflicting beliefs. Yes, there are multidimensional aspects of self, but there is only one self. So the goal is to align our conscious actions with our subconscious beliefs. If we believe something to be true deep down inside, but on the outside, we're not reflecting that we really believe whatever that is, then we're in conflict with ourselves. And that's what this whole world is really about. If you look at any conflict, wars or just simple arguments in the home, in the household between family members or loved ones, it's all the same thing. We're just in conflict with the self. Because if everything is one, If we're all really connected, then we're just in conflict with the self. And I'm not saying this is a negative thing. Everything that's unfolding is unfolding in divine perfection and in divine order, and it's all for our learning experience. Whatever negativity can come out of these conflicts, even the great wars that are happening and the lives that are lost, we have to hold our faith. We have to keep our faith. We have to keep our hope alive that all that's happening, in the end, justice will be served. And that all is unfolding in divine order and all will be okay. But we have to know that to see that reflected in our physical reality. Because inside, it's already that way. Everything is already perfect in our heart of hearts. And it is possible to manifest and co-create a world in this vision together. But until then, there will be these conflicts and there will be this suffering. But it's really just the one self being divided and conflicted. So what is this judgment day? Until we break those negative habits, or ones that we believe deep down inside are negative, we're living in that judgment day. And I think that that's why our world looks the way that it does right now, and everything looks so intense, and it feels like the apocalypse. There are all these signs that have been spoken about for thousands of years, the signs that represent the coming of the end times. But by now we know that there's never really an end without a new beginning. With every end comes a new beginning. One thing ends and another thing begins. And this is reflective of the great wheel and cycle of life. And I think that a lot of us are in conflict with our own selves. And that's why it's reflecting in the greater world. It looks like we are stuck in this judgment day. Many people think that it's a time or an event that's coming, but it's already here. It's already a concept that lives inside of us. That's why one of the tarot cards of the major arcana, the major cards of the deck, one of them is Judgment. Because it's a really specific life lesson and a very important one. But no one's up there judging you. But in each moment, we are judging ourselves. We can't help that. But when we begin to really understand this concept, we can align our thoughts with it in a way that's healthy and in a way that's productive and efficient, not only for the highest good of self, but for the highest good of the one larger self of which we're all a part. It's okay to judge because that's why we're here, that's what we do. But judging in more of a scientific way, really separating our emotions from the judgment. They have their own places in life, very important ones. But when we're judging our reality, it's like everything is about intention. Why are we judging it? How are we judging it? What are we comparing it to? What is it? What is it? We can't help but judge because we are not only living these lives as these, human beings, we're also the observer behind everything that's unfolding. We're the observer behind the thoughts and behind the actions. And so when we judge ourselves, which we can't help but do that, so long as we are righteously judging ourselves with love, compassion, unconditional love and compassion, full understanding, forgiveness. Okay, when we have these qualities, and what does that really reflect? The mother and the father. When we can be our own mother and our own father in harmony, in union, and judge ourselves as that child, right? Because parents have that unconditional love. They have the capacity most easily, because we all have that capacity to feel that for everyone when we know that they're just a reflection of ourselves. But who has it, at the ready, the most easily? Parents. They feel that for their child. So if we can be our own parents and observe or judge righteously ourselves as the child as well, then we create a really special triangular energetic flow. And we know that there's not some judgment day approaching, but that every moment reflects an eternity. All moments exist simultaneously here now. And so that concept of judgment is always upon us. It's always within us. And if we're doing something that is not in alignment with what we believe to be right, then some subconscious part of ourselves is going to judge ourselves, is going to be in conflict and want to punish ourselves, whether we're aware of this or not. So we have to be our own mother and be unconditionally loving and supportive. And we have to be our own father and guide ourselves in the right direction and align all aspects of self in a way that is harmonious, to align our subconscious minds with our conscious manifestations. Until we do this, until we make this correction, we are keeping ourselves stuck in Judgment Day. And that's okay, because this is the only way. And we can always come out of it in each moment because of that truth of timelessness, of our being, of our nature. Each moment holds the opportunity for us to step out of that Judgment Day. It's almost like you can't have one without the other. You can't have the light without the shadow. And so we have this Judgment Day so that we can righteously judge ourselves in a way that's positive and then make a change so that we come out of that Judgment Day, so that we can liberate ourselves over and over. And that's what this life is about. It's not about some end point. There is no end. There is no end. With every end comes a new beginning, like we said. And so we come in and out of this Judgment Day, hopefully we come in and out of it and not just be stuck in it forever. But how do we come out of it? By knowing that we have the ability to and that it's up to us. And then this liberation becomes something that not only is addictive, but it becomes an inspiration for everybody around us. So that they too can know that this concept was within them and that they have the power to set themselves free continuously. But we're never moving backwards. We're always moving forwards and outwards. We're always expanding. So it's like, oh God, you go again with this cycle. No, you have to stay hopeful. It's not the same thing. It might look the same, but we're always expanding out, spiraling out a little farther each time we learn these lessons. Each time we set ourselves free, it's with greater power and with greater reward. And it's never ending. And that's not something to fear, but something to be excited about. So I invite you to align all aspects of yourself, the deepest parts of yourself, your subconscious, with your self. Because when you do this, you will set yourself free of self-judgment in a way that doesn't feel good, in a way that is negative. And to say, yeah, it's okay. Judgment is a part of the process of life. But once I catch myself judging myself harshly, I'm going to remember to be my own mother and love myself unconditionally. And I'm going to remember to be my own father and give myself a little kick in the ass and say, you learned your lesson, now move forward. Step out of it. So Judgment Day is not an event that we're waiting for, you guys. It's not an event that one should wait for, should anticipate with fear. There's no man up there who's gonna one day come down and strap you to some electric chair and say, let's see what you've done. You know, like Santa with his naughty or nice list. This is a fantasy. We really are all one, and there is no other. Only God can judge because we are one with that creator source. And we can only judge ourselves. How are we doing that? Are we keeping ourselves stuck in a prison of self-doubt, fear, self-loathing, guilt, shame? Or are we going to say, I know why that's happening and I can set myself free from it. No one's judging me but myself. Even if it appears to be someone else, another person who's judging you, it's still an aspect of you that's just being reflected back to yourself. So Judgment Day is always upon us. But the good thing is, we have the power to come out of it. And we're the only ones keeping ourselves trapped. Shabbat Shalom, you guys. Go ahead and check out my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Please subscribe. You just go to youtube.com/RebeccaMagic. And there are well over 100 videos on there. So there's plenty of fun material, and there are always at least 3 free collective tarot readings a month that are super powerful. So I invite you to join in if you so desire. May you be easy on yourselves. May you understand this concept of Judgment Day as one that is not meant to keep you trapped or anticipating some fearful event, but one that is meant to further set you free, to deepen your self-awareness, to make a change, to make a correction that is not for anyone but for yourself, which reflects as something very positive for the one self. Thank you for doing that work for us. Shabbat Shalom.